Hi there, State Senator Jason Isaacson here. You know, in this campaign, we've talked a lot about what we've done in the past, what we've accomplished, and what we plan for the future. But I want to take a second to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing right now in the legislature this session. First of all, I am concerned about the mental health of our kids. Specifically, I have found through talking to constituents that we have kids that are having mental health crises that go to the emergency room and sometimes sit there between 7 and 8 days before they get any help. That's just not acceptable to me. From the moment a parent knows that their kid's in crisis and they need help to the moment of that diagnosis should be minutes or hours, not days or weeks. So I partnered up with Senator Rich Draheim, a Republican from Southern Minnesota, and we put together a bill that we're working through the legislature right now that would create mental health urgency rooms for our kids, meaning that once a parent knows their kid's in trouble, they have a place to go almost immediately to get help. Because we know the sooner we help a kid who's in crisis, the sooner they get out of that crisis and the less long-term effects they get from being in crisis. So this is something that I'm very proud of the work we're doing. We have support bipartisanly in both houses, and we've been working with DHS to someday make this a Medicaid benefit down the road. And this is something I think that's going to be very important and critical to helping kids, especially when we're in this COVID crisis. As you may know, maybe you saw in the news, we have this thing called a presumption, which means that when workers, statewide workers that are working on the front lines are put in a position where they could be contracting COVID, we create a presumption for workers' comp, which helps them streamline and gives them benefits right away, protecting them both financially and medically. Unfortunately, the legislature missed the dates and created about a month-long gap in which several of our firefighters, our corrections officers, our nurses, and police officers were held without having that presumption of being able to get those benefits immediately. So I've been working bipartisanly with Senator Rarick and also with the commissioner to create a fund to help protect those folks so they're not going to be uncompensated or left damaged because of that presumption gap. And I think it's most important that we protect our frontline workers and give them everything that we need. This is one way we can fill in a spot to make sure those guys don't fall through the cracks. How are we helping kids with disabilities in our schools not only succeed educationally, but give them the fullest experience of being in school? One thing that I've discovered through talking to constituents in our district, there are really no programs to help kids with after school activities, organizations to socialize and become part of and make friends, which is a really key component to being in school. And it should be no less important for our kids with disabilities or special needs. So I'm working with Senator Eichhorn, a Republican from the Northern Range, to put together an amendment on a bill he's already doing that would add funding to help promote and give schools the money they need to have those kind of opportunities for kids with disabilities or special needs so they can experience the richness that they should be able to have in school with all the activities and things that they might want to do. And I think it's really good because it can be school specific and what they want to accomplish for those kids. We have local projects we're working on right now. As you may know, I've been able to save Arden Hills over $1 million in tax revenue they would have to spend on projects by helping bond for those projects. We're going to do it again with another Arden Hills trails we're working on, and we're going to cover at least half of the cost of the new fire station we're going to put up in Arden Hills. This fire station is going to be state of the art, and it's going to have hazmat facilities there to help us decontaminate things, and will become a real hub for us here in the Eastern Metro. Another thing that I'm really proud of, and the work that I think is essential, is really taking the time to honor the work done by our state employees. Frankly, they're the folks that make state Minnesota run as smooth and as awesomely as it does right now. And one of the ways I'm able to honor them is to make sure that I carry and get their state contracts passed. We have what's called an SER committee, which is the committee that handles the contracts before they go to the body and go to the floor for the Senate to approve. And for the first time in modern history, I've been able to not only once, but twice get them approved out of that committee with a positive vote, one of them unanimously. I'm really proud of that work, and I really want to make sure that our state employees know they're supported by the Senate Democrats. On a more local note, Roseville has asked for some help in trying to raise some money to put together a bigger DMV. If you've been to the DMV, the driver's motor vehicle license tab registration area, on Lexington. It's really cramped and crowded, and there just isn't enough space to operate. So they have asked for some help on a bill that would let them raise sales tax on commercial goods in Roseville, probably most paid by people visiting our mall, to help pay for the new expanded DMV. And as a municipal DMV, I think it's a real opportunity for us to do a little bit of good for the citizens here in Roseville, and I'm proud to carry that legislation. I point out here is that I have a ton of legislation that I'm working on. The ones I've highlighted in this video are the legislation that I believe are going to pass this year. I think that I have a strong record of working with Republicans and being able to pass things bipartisanly, delivering not only for the state, but for the residents of our districts. And I think that's something that's important as you choose who you're going to vote for. I really appreciate your engagement and being a delegate. I'd love to have the chance to talk further with you about this convention and about Minnesota politics, and I'd love to have a chance to earn your vote. Thank you and have a wonderful day.